Hello everyone, so I've been requested to do a footwork drill. So I've broken it down into a beginner, intermediate and advanced stages, although this is really open to all levels and you can do as hard as you like. In the video you can follow along with me. I'll call out instructions and you will just follow, so make sure you've got a good amount of space to do this. Of course, footwork is one of the most important things in MMA, in striking like K1, boxing, Muay Thai, and it's the fundamental aspect that allows you to throw power in your strikes and avoid getting hit. So very important. If you get used to the instructions in this video, because maybe you watched it too many times, then you can get maybe a family member or friend to call out the instructions instead, and therefore you can do this same drill anyways. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video.
So for the first drill, we're going to be going forwards, backwards and side to side, as well as switching to change stances. Keeping in mind to always keep a good space between your feet. So for forwards, our lead leg leads the action, and for backwards, our rear leg leads the action. So this changes depending on what stance you're in, but basically the front leg goes first for going forwards, and the rear leg goes first for going backwards to keep a good space between the feet. The same principle applies for side to side. So if you're going to the left, your left leg leads, and if you're going to the right, your right leg leads, and then the other foot will follow up after this. The switch motion requires the lead leg to go first, and then the rear leg to then step afterwards. So the lead leg will step back, rear leg will step forwards. And to get this in speed, all you do is just move the feet faster as you do it, staying on the balls of your feet. Of course, this switch movement is usually used for switch kick, but in this case we're going to use it to change stances. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to call out forwards, backwards, left, right, and switch. Just give it your best shot. Good luck. Forwards, backwards, right, left, forwards, forwards, switch, backwards, backwards, switch, right, switch, left, forwards, backwards, backwards, right, switch, forwards, right, left, backwards, switch, forwards, switch, right, left, backwards, switch, forwards, backwards, left, right, right, switch, left, forwards, backwards, right, switch, forwards, backwards, left, switch, switch, right, switch, switch, forwards, backwards, left, forwards, backwards, right, forwards, backwards, backwards, switch, forwards, right, left, backwards, switch, forwards, switch, switch, left, right, backwards, switch, forwards, backwards, right, left, switch, 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 left, forwards, backwards, switch, right, forwards, switch, backwards. Cool, so if you found that difficult enough, just stick to practicing those. But if you want to have more of a challenge, we're going to add on a double switch or multiple switches, as well as adding a pivot motion. So for the multiple switches, once again, you're still moving your lead foot first and then your rear, but then you're mixing in the double switching or triple or maybe even quadruple switches in there. This means that you want to be as light on your feet as possible, staying on the balls of the feet, and it almost becomes a Muhammad Ali shuffle from here. So you can see me demonstrating this technique, and depending on the number of switches will depend on what stance you end up in at the end. The pivot we'll be practicing will always come off the lead foot. So imagine your lead foot has a nail in it. Not a nice thought, but you basically can't move that foot from the ground. All you can do is rotate off the foot. This means that the back foot will move and the lead foot will stay where it is, turning with the pivot. Here is me quickly demonstrating an example of how this may look later. Okay, so here we go. Once again, forwards, backwards, left and right, but this time adding on multiple switches and the pivot. Good luck. Pivot, pivot, switch, pivot, pivot, back, forwards, forwards, pivot, back, double switch, left, forwards, pivot, double switch, triple switch, left, forwards, backwards, right, forwards, pivot, switch, pivot, forwards, right, left, triple switch, right, forwards, backwards, backwards, left, quadruple switch, right, triple switch, left, pivot, triple switch, pivot, pivot, switch, quadruple switch, pivot, right, left, switch, pivot, left, right, double switch, pivot, double switch, right, forwards, backwards, pivot, pivot, switch, 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 forwards, backwards, right, forwards, backwards, left, pivot, double switch, pivot, forwards, backwards, left, forwards, pivot, left, backwards, switch, backwards, pivot. Okay, so adding on, this time this is adding in punches, and this makes it slightly harder. However, other than that, the movements are exactly the same, just adding in the punches as well. If you feel that the last bit was hard enough, stick with this. I would classify this as the advanced version of this footwork drill. So here you can see I'm adding the punches to the movements, and basically you're punching with the same foot that's stepping. So if your left foot is stepping, then your left hand will be punching. If your right foot is stepping, then your right hand will be punching. And you can see you can either just do this with straight punches to keep it a bit more simple, or you can do this with any punch you like and just mix it up whilst moving. To add punches to the switch, it is on the second step we throw out the opposite hand. So therefore, if you step your left foot back and then your right foot forwards for the switch, your left hand will come out. And this means that it's basically the opposite hand coming out to the foot that's coming forwards. Here you can see me just demonstrating mixing it up, and you can add extra punches to the end, such as a hook, to finish off the combo as well. And for the pivot, it's exactly the same pivot off the front leg, this time adding a hook as you pivot off to the side. And this is just a quick demonstration of what this is going to look like, adding the punches in with the movements, including the forwards, backwards, side to side, switching and pivoting. Okay, so here we go. Remember, same movements, just adding the punches in there. Don't worry too much if you get some of them wrong, and if you add extra punches in, that's absolutely fine. Just do the best job you can. Good luck. Forwards, backwards, right, left, double switch, switch, left, right, pivot, forwards, backwards, right, left, pivot, double switch, forwards, backwards, left, right, forwards, backwards, 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 right, forwards, left, pivot, pivot, double switch, triple switch, forwards, right, backwards, pivot, double switch, triple switch, forwards, backwards, pivot, forwards, switch, pivot, double switch, switch, forwards, pivot, switch, pivot, pivot, forwards, backwards, backwards, forwards, right, left, forwards, double switch, pivot, double switch, forwards, right, pivot, forwards, backwards, forwards, right, left, pivot, double switch, quadruple switch, quadruple switch, switch, pivot, triple switch, pivot, forwards.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any requests for future videos, please let me know. Otherwise, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time for another video.